think I just started writing because I wanted adventures so badly. I began writing about myself. I feel like all my characters borrow from my personalities. We watched a lot of educational videos, and I think like how we did that, it just like fostered so much learning. Some other day, make a movie for my witch book and cast a bunch of child actors and traumatize them.
Traumatizing children. What a wonderful goal.
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Ella, and we are homeschoolers. We met through a homeschool community called Recess, where we found our love for learning and podcasting.
Come join us on our journey of self-directed learning as we dive into all the things about Recess on our
Recess Rundown podcast.
And we will hopefully see you there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Recess Rundown podcast. Today, we have a truly global guest. Originally from California, she's been world schooling out of Taiwan for the last few years. Not only is she balancing school and figure skating, but she is a double author with 2 books releasing soon. Let's welcome Annie. Thank you for being with us, Annie.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. All right, so you moved to Taiwan in 2020, right as the world completely shifted. How did that move spark your family's homeschooling journey, and explain what those early days looked like?
Well, in 2020, we moved back to Taiwan at the very last day of 2019. So I don't think anybody really knew that COVID was going to start in 3 months. Originally, our family, we were just planning a visit, and then it just kind of spiraled a bit to where I am now. And I feel like during COVID, I think the entire world was learning how to homeschool, and we were all just, we had our first taste of homeschooling, and then based off of that, my sister and I, we had a lot of online classes that we resumed even when we went to school. And then when we started homeschooling in 2022, I think we just went based off of how we did it when we were younger. But when my sister and I were younger, I think we joined a lot of curriculums and programs that were about learning from games and also learning from other things. And it was we were kids and very carefree, and it was pretty fun.
That's awesome. So would you say, does your homeschooling look different now than where it was when you were kind of doing it during COVID? Because I imagine obviously it's evolved.
You cannot imagine, it's changed a lot. When I was younger, I don't think I knew what figure skating was. I think I just imagined walking on ice with boots and doing 100 rotations in a jump. But now I obviously know that the maximum competed is 4, and I can only do 1 right now because when I was younger, our homeschooling, my parents, we watched a lot of educational videos, and I think how we did that, it just fostered so much learning. It just taught us, my sister and I, we would look at a lot of videos about random stuff, how does the solar system work? When do you use a semicolon in a sentence? And how does color work, and how do you get blind and stuff? And I think, I now know a lot of really weird random fun facts, but I also don't know if I remember them all. But I think for the first structure, the foundation of learning, it's always just learning the random stuff, and now we're going more in depth into it, and that's how it's evolved for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool. I kind of had a similar journey to you, where I moved to a completely new country, and then COVID started and I had to figure out, what are we doing here? So you've experienced life in both California and Taiwan alongside a lot of travel. How has world schooling changed the way you view history, language, culture, compared to just reading about them in a textbook?
I feel like you never really get to like feel what it's like until you go to the countries that you visit. Like um when I went to London, like, well, in 2024, I was 10 at the time. I expected everybody to be like Englishmen who wore top hats and drank tea every single day, and well, most of the taxi drivers, cab drivers, um they were like all from different countries, and I learned that like um I think what I learned previously was a bit outdated to like the 1900s. And I think like when I went to countries that speak different languages, like in Europe, like in Switzerland and Germany, it just like I did not know what Switzerland the what the Swiss people did. Like, I genuinely didn't know they existed. In Switzerland, I learned that they like bees, they like nature, and it's like so beautiful there. And I don't think you get to experience it like as well as it is firsthand. And just those scenes, like seeing nature and everything, and experiencing what everybody's lives are like in other countries, because we kind of immerse ourselves with the people of those countries. We really like get a firsthand experience, and I like to put those like feelings into my book, because like my book has a lot of well, both of my books has a lot of stuff that's inspired by other countries and cultures in the world.
Awesome. I was wondering, do you have like a favorite place you visited?
Oh, okay. That's kind of hard to answer. Oh, well, my favorite countries, this is not a place I visited, is my probably Taiwan and America, but not the government. And then, but if it was a country I visited, it would probably be the two options examples I put earlier, England and Switzerland, because one, I got to speak with a lot of Englishmen, and obviously I don't know, but I've had like this exact same Luna Lovegood profile picture on my Recess account for like 2 years already, and so I maybe you guys can tell I really like Harry Potter, and I also got to experience like Harry Potter when I was in England, and that was really fun. And I also got like a new routine for my figure skating, though that was ages ago, 2 years. And then Switzerland, it was just so fun. Like the nature, I already said it. The nature. I just have to say that.
I agree. Switzerland is beautiful. I went in the winter, so everything looked a little bit dead, but the Christmas markets were they're so nice. While you were in I know you said you were in England, but did you end up going on the Harry Potter train in Scotland?
No, but the closest thing we got to it was like a bus that I accidentally spilled all of my those birdie bots jelly beans all over the floor of that bus.
Oh
Um,
no.
we got to watch the movie on it, but I spilled all my jelly beans. And I guess it was okay for my sister and my aunt and my mom, because they weren't really fond of it, because we tried like, well, my least favorite flavor was like earthworm flavor, and it was kind of gross. And but I really liked having that black pepper flavored one.
Interesting.
Well, let's start talking more about homeschool. So you mentioned that homeschooling has taught you so much more than just traditional school ever could. Um, is there something major you've learned about yourself or even the world that you don't think you would have learned in a regular classroom?
I think I feel like in regular classrooms, like I learned everything I know today, but I only knew like this much about it. I knew like there were people who wrote, and writing was a thing, but like I like to write stories, but I never went in depth into it, and I never really knew it could be like super fun for me specifically. And I knew like specimens of every single subject, but never like the core of it, like what was deep under like the surface. Um and obviously there's also figure skating and aggressive inline, which is another sport I did when I was like 9 years old. I don't think I would have learned that you cannot jump 100 rotations during jump. And I, like I said, um, I and I also don't think I would have found out that I'm decent at the sport. I'm decent. Yes.
So, would you say like your curriculum, it's not just subject based. Everything you do is kind of part of it. So figure skating and writing books and all of that. You kind of all include that in your curriculum.
Yeah, like well, every day it's so different every day. I go to school half the week. I'm actually gonna finally graduate in 2 weeks, which I'm very excited for. 'Cause it's just yeah. Um, and well, lately, I've been writing a bit too much, just revising and editing and worrying and having panic attacks. I won't be able to edit well enough. So I've been writing a lot, and I also like finished some of my classes. Yeah. Well, I don't think I liked history when I was younger. Um, that's hard to explain, but actually, I don't think I even knew history when I I in Taiwan school. I have well, I'm gonna explain my life story right now, but when I was in Taiwanese school, I was schooling. Why do I keep saying I? I was schooling since from kindergarten, half of kindergarten to the whole of first grade, and then half of first grade to the whole of second grade's first semester, and then half for second grade's second semester. And in Taiwan, you only start learning like science and history in like third grade, and I feel like homeschooling is kind of goated because I think I was able to learn a lot of things when I was younger, because like when I started doing homeschool half and regular school with I watched a lot of educational videos, and I learned a lot of random science junk, why did I use the word junk? That I don't think people who were 7 years old at the time could have learned. And and I also learned about like who Marie Antoinette is. I still can't pronounce her name. And Napoleon and Haiti, the Haitian Revolution, the American Revolution, all those revolutions. I can. Here's a weird quirk about me. I can remember dates kind of specifically. That's random.
That's cool though. I kind of I feel like I have a thing where I try to remember everyone's birthdays instead of like dates
Oh, me too.
specifically. Instead of like writing it down, I'm just like keep it in my head.
I was wondering because you've written so many books, and I was just thinking, how do you? What's your favorite part about writing books or novels?
Um, I I feel like when I was younger, my biggest dream was to go on an adventure. This is another life story dump, but I had friends, and I was inspired to like write professionally because of those friends. Um, I always dreamed of us having adventures, and then so my first book I published on Amazon when I was 10, but I deleted it because I don't want anyone buying it. Only my aunt got it, but it's okay. I still don't want it there. Um, it was about me. Literally, it just name dropped me, my sister, and our friends going on magical adventures. And then, and for me, I've always wanted an adventure. So right now, for my writing journey, I'm just imagining me as the main character, and I'm just going on adventures. Like, I think I just started writing because I wanted adventures so badly. I began writing about myself, and then now I'm writing about other people who are as um annoying as me. I don't know. Um, yeah.
You're not annoying, but I get the I think inserting yourself into characters really does help. It's really great. I find with picturing them, you can kind of it's easier to write emotions, right?
Yeah, like in one of my books that's coming out in October, I have like two characters. One is a bit insane and the other is half insane. And then um they kind of reflect on my personalities. And I also invented another character recently who has my exact same backstory, but instead of going to sixth grade, she just visits a magical world. That's my universe that I actually named Annieland for no reason.
Anyland sounds like a fun place.
Yeah.
So what does a typical homeschool day look for you?
Okay. So usually, I on Mondays. Should I just go through my entire schedule? On Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, I go to school in the morning, and I we have random classes at school. I just remember science, history. I'm always trying to avoid science by like for the last 2 weeks I've convinced my mom to let me take a break from school. I don't like science. I mean, I don't like science in Mandarin because my school is in Mandarin and I'm not really the best at Mandarin. I kind of lost that trait a few years ago when I started homeschooling, but wait, hold on. And then I'm like, well, I also have a lot of philosophy classes. Like I have two philosophy classes, and I'm actually learning a lot about myself, a lot about life, a lot about everything from like just learning philosophy, and that was pretty cool. And I also skate like 3 times a week and sometimes at night. And and then I write a lot. Like the minute I come home from school, don't do your homework. Do your homework like later. Just write your book because you just drew all of your characters 100 times again in your notebook or wrote really cringy scenes in your notebook. But it's okay. Just add those and then just tidy them up. And so my whole world these days just kind of revolves around editing and revising. But that's kind of yeah.
Nice. So, kind of keeping on the topic of your books, as you know, you're explaining us what you do when you get home from school, writing. You have not one, but two books releasing this year. Can you give our listeners a sneak peek into what they're about and how you're kind of formatting them?
Okay, I'm scared. I've been preparing for this moment my entire life. I have to nail this. So, my book that's out in July is Not for Anybody's Eyes. I mean, obviously if I'm publishing it, it has to be for somebody's eyes. It's for the eyes of younger people around age 8 to 10. Well, I'm marketing it to like 8-year olds and 10-year olds. I recently revised a bit of it and I realized that my 11-year-old writing was also just as bad because what do you mean I just did hello, I say, haha, she laughs, and then just I am so happy, she smells, like stuff like that, and it really sounds really off and really strange. So I discovered that my writing was not as good as I thought it was at the age of 11. But it was worse at the age of 9. When I was 9, I wrote characters that were flat. Like when I say flat, they are literally as flat as like one of these sticky notes. I wrote characters that just didn't have personality. They had this personality, they are the happiest person in the world, and then nothing else. So then when I became emo when I was 10 or 11, I'm just gonna use that word. I kind of changed them all to like sadists. For no reason in particular, they all became pessimists all of a sudden. So my main character, her name is very basic, but I won't change it because it's been that way since I was 9. Her name is Mila, Mila, and I won't say her last name, but if you want to find out her last name, you can search on my website. And then she goes on these trials, and these trials basically she to earn her like magic she has to go to the mortal world, which is actually where we actually live, which is kind of cool. And then she has to like just bunk with a human and then just do they have to, she and her fairy friends and all her fairy classmates, they all have to survive in that place for ages and ages. And to make matters worse, I decided to make her the roommate she has to bunk with. I decided to make her the daughter of the a fairy hunter for no particular reason, just traumatize my main character even more. I had that since I was 9 as well. Yeah. In theory, this story sounds really, really cringe, and I don't know why I'm still writing it. It's kind of serving as a prequel, and it's cringe. So I'm marketing this book to like younger people. I have this. It's called the Little Witch. Haha. I had a name the Little Witch in my head for about a year before I actually started having inspiration for what to write about it. And so basically what is wrong with my voice right now? My main character, she's like 12. She was convicted of witchcraft because I gave her a traumatizing backstory. She killed somebody, she burned down a cathedral, she did a lot of random, very suspicious things, and then she is sent to a school. And I'm actually in the process of revising the plot a little, so I actually did a massive, epic delete all my words thing where I delete like 40,000 words from my manuscript, which is a bit. Yeah, it's heart wrenching, but I'm just adding them all back in weird parts now. So she's sent to this school and she makes some friends, more like accomplices. And then okay, I actually deleted this description I put on my website a few days ago because I realized it just sounds terrible. And so now the new description is like, so she used to be working for like a revolution she was starting with her best friend, but then her best friend kind of betrayed her because I don't know. I still have to think of a good motive. The motive is like for power because they wanted to overthrow this king who was like super evil. And so then she and her best friend, they were just searching around to start a revolution, and then just but then when my main character, her name is actually Ariath. It's very it's air, like the air I see right now, but it's invisible. And then E, like Annie, air E, and then Ath, like wrath. I'm just thinking of rhymes.
That's a cool name.
And yeah, and so then she like accidentally kills somebody, and then to somehow cover up their tracks because the king is kind of suspicious about this murder. Her best friend just throws her under the bus and is like, "Oh, Ariath did it," and then Ariath is sent away, and then she's sent to this other island where she causes more havoc and trouble, and then she's sent to another island where this school for misfits is, and then she originally she burned down that the school there, but now I'm just planning she gets kidnapped from it. It's more traumatic. Then she's on like a goal to overthrow her best friend who somehow got herself named as the Empress Queen, and she's like her best friend is like literally a child of that kingdom, and that child queen also somehow murdered the king, so she's kind of ambitious. And there's this whole cast of characters which I've drawn in my notebook like a million times, and yet I still don't really have a grip on what they actually look like. But
Do you think your travels and background inspired any of the stories or characters?
I feel like all my characters borrow from my personalities. And then I also have that character I mentioned who has a copy and paste backstory as me. So I'll explain the backstory. Lived in the US when she was younger, moved to Taiwan just a bit before COVID, lived there, and then somehow found out that she was actually a fairy. And that hasn't happened to me yet, but I hope it does happen soon because I have waited long enough to finally find magic in my life, and it hasn't come yet. But oh wait, next story. Me too.
I mean, yeah, I totally get that. I'm still waiting for my letter from Hogwarts, and it's about 3 years late, so I don't know what's going on. Instead of snail mail, it's owl mail. This is so slow. Sorry, continue. So, what about your travels?
I have
The places
this
that you've
kingdom.
made?
It's kind of like the kingdom of not prosperity, like peace, or just like it has pretty flowers. And I will mention Switzerland again, but I actually based that also off Switzerland, and it just has like luscious grasses and like prettiness, but it also goes in a direction like more like kind of like what's that movie again? Tinkerbell. That they're Pixie Hollow there, but they're not pixies, they're fairies. And I kind of just I really base a lot of things off of like real life things like corrupt governments. I feel like we have a lot of them, like in our current century and also in our past centuries, and I really try to like make it kind of be a bit of a reflection on like the past and just the history and the people.
That's cool. Love that Switzerland's making a comeback again.
Let's talk about hobbies. So, you actually mentioned that you are interested in space and stargazing, which I actually didn't know. So, I'm really curious about it. And like, how did you get into learning the subject? And do you maybe have a favorite constellation or space fact you learned along your space and stargazing journey?
Okay, I kind of have like a really major lore drop right now, but before I started writing like many little children, I really wanted to be an astronaut. Um, I feel like you can always sense my lingering obsession with like the stars. Like, well, in the book Girl Squad, my character is actually named after the moon, and in another book I'm writing with my friends, like it's well, I have a sapphic love story in there, but it's one of my the character I own is called Lyra, named after the constellation of the Lyre, and I also have my main character in my witch story, the little witch. It's she wanted before becoming a witch, she wanted to be like an astrologist, and I also have scenes where they're just looking at the sky and just looking at constellations, and I feel like I have had this obsession with space. Like I might go deeper into how I thought of what I wanted to be. Like, but before that I want to be a scientist. And I think I just always had that fascination for space and the stars. Like, I think a lot of kids like really wanted to be astronauts, like in like the early 20s. The early 20s, it's already late 20s. Oh my god, that's crazy. Not the 1920s, of course, but I I've just when I was younger, I think I just looked into the sky and wondered what is it going to be like to like swim up there, and I just want to jump on the moon, and when I was younger I thought the moon was made of cheese, so I also wanted to eat it, but um now I learned it's not made of cheese, so I'm a bit disappointed, but maybe we can one day construct our own cheese moon. But apart from wanting to eat the moon, I also to feel gravity because I am not a very fast jumper, not a very good jumper in figure skating, and I wonder if I would do better up on the moon. I feel like there's just like a lot of possibilities out there, and when I was younger, I just watched so many space videos. I memorized like dwarfs planets and those asteroids and comets, and right now I can't really remember that much stuff that I learned like when I was younger, but it'll always be like a part of me that'll like stay there even if I just like let go of the like bigger picture. But well, now I still really want to take a bite out of the moon or just jump on it.
My dad works for a space company, but it's like space technology and satellites and stuff like that. But he's really into it, and he has this huge telescope, and we always like to go look at the stars with it when it's clear. Do you have a telescope, and do you like looking at the stars?
Um, well, I kind of have an issue in my country. Well, I mean, not an issue. Well, what you said kind of reminded me of what I was originally gonna say. Um, recently I've taken well, originally I actually wasn't that obsessed with constellations and stars. I was more of like a planets person, but recently I've just like started liking the stars a lot. And so I really want to like just one day look at the stars. I remember having a sleepover with my sister, which technically isn't a sleepover because she lives in the same house as me, but um I was just looking outside, looking at the moon, and I was like, wow, the moon is there. And then I saw the constellation Lyra, and I was like, oh my god, it's Lyra. And then I just thought, I wish, because I live in a really big city, so like all around us are like the city lights, and you can really just never really see like stars super brightly. But like a really big dream of mine that is kind of easy to accomplish, but depending on if my fear of the dark will relent, it's I just want to like go out in the middle of the night, just get a camper van and then just stargaze and just do some random stuff and look at the stars and just be like, wow, I remember when I was in Denmark. Actually, Denmark is also one of my favorite countries I've been to. Um, my figure skating coach and her dog and her husband. She was taking me and my sister on a walk, and we were just walking out at the park, and I just thought, wow, there's so many stars. Like I literally saw like a million stars in the sky, and I was like, why can't I ever see this stuff in Taiwan? And so that kind of just inspired me so much, just seeing like that many stars. And yeah, but I think even when I grow up, I'm still gonna stick to the city because I have like a really, really big fear of bugs. Actually, a few days ago, I saw a giant spider. I was in my Mandarin philosophy class, and just I saw a spider. Like the spider was like this big and just like walking, and I was like, ah. And turns out it was the owner of the store I was in. It was his pet, and I was like, who has a pet spider? But I won't be judgy.
I think. Oh, giant spiders. That does not sound fun. But what you're the star stuff was really beautiful, and I think I totally agree with you. Sometimes the city lights can, well, always make stargazing and looking at them quite hard.
Does the mystery of space ever inspire the stories you write, or is it just like, or is just like space a hobby of yours, and just like one of your favorite ways to unplug and relax, maybe?
I think it's more of like the latter. I feel like I haven't really found many ways to connect it to writing yet, but I'm starting to like research more about constellations and also adding them to my book because technically, well, the original blueprint of Annieland was that it sat above the clouds. And so technically you could see all the stars. So I still mention like the North Star and stuff. But oh, I feel like it's mostly just like a secondary hobby that I like to think about when I'm not totally stressing over deadlines.
So I've loved talking about stars. I'm sure everyone has. But kind of moving on, our listeners might remember when your sister was on the show, and we know you both share a huge passion for figure skating. What was it like having your sister right there on the ice with you? Do you two find yourselves being competitive, or are you each other's big?
So here's the weird thing. Like, we're very competitive siblings. We're always complaining about each other and arguing about who does a better bullet spin. Ultimately, it's Angela, but when we're in competitions, we're actually, yeah, our each other's biggest cheerleaders. Like we've competed in the same competition twice. Angela has gotten first and second for both of them, and I have gotten last. We have to get last, but very close to last on the first one. I got 12th place on the first one, and then last on the second one. And yeah, but I my sister and I, we mostly like compete about our skating like when we're not actually competing, because I feel like during actual competitions we're just like, oh, Ans, I think you're gonna win this, and Ans like, no, I think you're gonna win. And I was like, no, 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 you're definitely gonna win. She's like, no, I'm not gonna win. You're so good, you can win it. And I just love our sibling relationship so much, but like regular siblings, we always argue. I think it's just like it's written in the sibling guidebook. I don't think it's a sibling guidebook, but um and on the ice, like having her on the ice is amazing. Like I can always like if I do a bad spin, I can always just blame it on her or just go to her and blame it on the ice and just complain whatever I want. And also, unrelated or maybe related on another note, my sister and I love working with each other, like while we skate. Obviously, like we help each other with our spins. And actually, recently, we've been actually choreographing like programs by ourselves. Like originally, we all had like our own coaches, and my sister's like the program she does with her coach is Enchanted by Taylor Swift, but an instrumental version. And for me, I do Lover Girl by Leve. For mine, that's choreographed by a coach. But recently, we've been like getting into choreographing them ourselves. So my sister is helping me with a new program I'm making, which is to the song Night at the Opera by Emma. And my sister is working on a program with Miyazaki by Paris Paloma. And just we've been helping each other, and I feel like that's really fun, like because my sister and I, we help each other a lot. Like we just contribute to each other's projects. We've been helping each other choreograph each other's programs. I've been playing music from my phone on the ice for her. I have to put the volume on the loudest because and after putting the volume on the loudest, I cannot even hear it. The music at the rink is too loud, and our blade scratching the ice is also too loud. But yeah, we just help each other a lot. We cheer, but we also compete. We just do a lot of things.
I think what you're like, that sounds total siblingy. Like you said, sibling guidebook, all of that. It's, I'm your biggest cheerleader all the time. But if we're competing, I'm better. I need to be. I'm the
Yeah.
better sibling. Yeah.
So, with 2 books coming out and a lot of world schooling under your belt, what are some of your big goals for the future? Both short term and long-term goals.
Okay. Well, I actually recently thought of my goals, and I think I want to finish the program my routine that I'm choreographing right now, and then one day compete it with like a pretty red dress or something to make it like a bit theatrical, and that would be pretty fun. And obviously, I also have the goal of, well, this is my main goal right now, but at right now publish my witch book, and then someday make my witch book and me famous, and then some other day make a movie for my witch book and cast a bunch of child actors and traumatize them. But
Traumatizing children. What a wonderful goal. No, I'm kidding. That sounds that sounds really cool. The movie, especially having a movie and having a book and then turning it into a movie.
a lot of movies kind of flop for their books. Like I saw like one of my favorite booktubers, author tubers talk about how they would want a movie, but they're worried it would flop. And if I had a movie, I think I would probably direct it all by myself and do everything all by myself and even write the soundtrack. But I don't play any instruments very well. Actual goals that are not unreachable. Well, I want to fix my grammar because I realized I use commas like everywhere, like hello, my name is Annie, comma, I like something, I, comma, I am something else, comma, I am something another something else, comma. So comma, 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 and I also really want to fix my grammar. That's kind of another weird goal. And I also have a goal to read 100 books this year, but I slacked behind with like about 52 books last year, and this year I might even have a lower amount. And I also want to one day go to a good college. Like I thought UCLA would be pretty cool. I went to like eat at the campus, like and their buffet was good, and I might just want to go to the school for the buffet they have every morning. But hey, food helps Annie's. um I want to get into a good college. I also one day want to get a master's degree, and I also want to one day show the kids in my class that I am not a quiet dork, because look at me, I'm literally the loudest person in the world when I'm not. Um yeah, if you want to know what I'm like in like Taiwan, I'm just like this. Today I was like staring everybody down in class and just writing top secret notes in my book, and then just whenever somebody passes by, I'm like just I just show I don't show my notebook to anybody. There are random ugly drawings on them, random suspicious scene ideas, and but yeah, I also have a goal to one day become famous and become more famous than all of my classmates. I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, got a lot of goals. Nice. Well, hopefully you reach all the ones that you want to. Hopefully all of them.
So, do you have a passion for figure skating, skating, riding books. You have a whole bunch of hobbies, but like, do you think maybe you would like actually do any of them in the future? And we
Okay.
ask all those questions to
I
like
love
guests.
thinking about this
What do you want to
question. I
be
always
when you
wonder
grow
about
up?
this question. Another weird thing that I might mention that kind of applies to that previous question about learning about yourself with with homeschooling is that I've learned a lot of my regular schooled friends don't know what they want to be when they grow up. But for me, well, when I was in regular school, I wanted to be an astronaut. But then after I learned I liked writing and wanted to be an author. But um, okay, I actually imagine myself as like J.K. Rowling type of author, but obviously I'm not going to be transphobic. Um, and I'm just going to be I just imagine being like Suzanne Collins, Rick Riordan, but kind of like using my very annoying personality to rage bait everybody and traumatize kids. And I also imagine movies, of course. And I when I grow up, I think I see myself sometimes directing, sometimes screenwriting. I feel like I just the definitive answer would probably be something in the entertainment industry. Maybe I also want to be an actress. I have a lot of random side quests, side goals. I think of myself as a future Barbie. I think I can do anything. I think of myself as Mrs. Rabbit, Miss Rabbit. I can't remember which rabbit it was in Peppa Pig, but I just imagine doing everything. I want to do everything. Nobody can restrict me. I will be a poet. I will be a bard. I will be a unicorn. I will be a knight. I'm going to become a dragon or something, but I can do anything. That's just my delusion. For me, that's just my philosophy. I go by that and I think I can do anything. I mean, I've published two really cringe books. Well, at least one really cringe book at the age of 10. And so if I can publish two cringe books at the age of 10, I can do anything. I mean, I didn't reread proofread those books, so I'm very careless, but being careless, I guess I'm also the kind of person that can really think out of the box.
You sound like a jack of many trades. You got a lot.
Well, that's actually our last question. So, would you like to play a game?
Sure.
Okay. So here we go. So this game is called Name That Book. We chose this one because you are a book lover, and well, I think we're all a book lovers here, bookworms. But yeah. So yeah, we're gonna play Name That Book. Ella, I think, is going to read out clues about a well-known book one at a time. Whoever shouts out the answer first gets the point. And the fewer clues you need, the more impressive it is.
All right. So this book, there's a girl on it, and she's reading.
Out of Green Gables.
Not quite. No.
I remember the cover.
Uh, she's got a red bow in her hair.
I don't know if this is the best description because I think there's lots of versions of books.
Yeah.
And
So
it comes
this
out
is.
different.
There are. I'm going off the like puffin. She's all right. I'll kind of go off of the plot. In this plot, she has very mean parents, but her teacher is very nice to her.
Oh,
Matilda?
Matilda?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
All right. Next one. The girl on the cover has braids.
Out of Green
Anne of Green
Gables.
Gables?
There you go.
Yay.
Okay. I'm trying to think of really well-known books. This book, the cover is black and yellow. It's got it's I think once it's got a metal bird on the front.
Is it The Hunger Games?
Yeah.
The Hunger Games?
Okay. All right. This book, the cover, it's like an open field, and there are kind of clouds everywhere. In the background, there's like a big castle.
Oh, is it that? I think it's a Ghibli, Howl's Moving Castle?
Yes.
I have not read it, but I've seen that cover a lot, and
I should have known that.
All right. Okay. On this cover, there's a lion.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yep. All right. That was it. All right. So that was Annie with 3 and Maddie with 2.
yay!
Yay. All
All
right.
right. Well, that was named that book. So our last guest was Olivia, and her question to our next guest, which so happens to be you, is, what do you love most about your favorite interest?
I think I love just getting transported. Like, whether it's a child traumatizing transportation to another world, I just get transported into my writing. I write a really cringe and funny scene where there's a lot of random banter and it's made for kids, obviously. I like getting transported. I just feel like I'm in the clouds, or I'm actually in like a tower in a school like juvenile detention, and then I'm getting yelled at, and then I'm just getting traumatized. And but yeah,
You like being transported. Nice. I get that.
If you were to create a question for us to ask our very next guest on our show, what would it be?
Okay, let me think. Wait, is there like a color that that they think would describe like their life or maybe their interest?
It'll be a fun way to get to know people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for our listeners, check our next Kid Guest episode to see who answers Annie's wonderful question. What color will describe their life, or their interests?
Yeah, I really like that question. Okay. Well, sadly, it is our closing. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on the Recess Rundown podcast, Annie. It was really fun to get
Thanks
to know
for
you.
having me.
Yeah, of course.
If you're part of the Recess community and would like to be on our podcast, please email us, Maddie and Ella, at recessrundown@gmail.com, or message us on the Recess platform directly, and maybe you can be on the podcast too.
So please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you can know when our next episode gets released. And we will see you all in the very next episode.
Bye!
Bye.